Here we go. The Boys season 3 is finally here. It feels like we have waited so long for this new season. And we got episodes 1 through 3 to talk about today in full spoiler details. So if you guys are new here and you love talking The Boys, I'm going to be here every single week discussing it this same time, this same date. And I hope to have you guys here along for the ride because these are my reactions, my reviews. I filmed these right after I just saw it. And jumping in, these first 3 episodes were quite insane, to say the least. There's a lot of psychological tension in here. And like I mentioned, there will be spoilers that I talk about. I'm not going to narrow down and recap the entire episodes, but I'm going to talk about the moments that really grossed me out, the moments that shocked me, some revelations and things like that, and some predictions that could possibly happen. And I hope you guys join me down below in the comment section because I definitely want to read your guys' thoughts down there. So overall, this first 3 episodes was pretty damn good. No Soldier Boy yet. Like, we've seen flashbacks of him, and I thought that flashback sequence with the Major was really, really great. But coming off season 2, I didn't exactly know what they were going to do. The first season of The Boys I thought was phenomenal and fantastic. It was grossed out, but it was different, and it was a great satire on everything in the comic book realm, which is something that the comic book has very much done, and I've dove in and read every single issue, and I dig the comic. But I overall have liked the differences that they have in the show. In season 2, for me, I liked. I didn't love it, and especially on rewatches, my issues kind of pertain a little bit higher for certain characters. Going into season 3, I can establish right now that some of the characters in here get a huge boost. Jack Quaid as Hughie is awesome in this season so far. I love what they are doing with him. I wasn't the biggest fan of him in season 2. I thought he was the weakest part about it, but I love his character in here, and it just goes a little bit deeper with him. Billy Butcher, Carl Urban has a lot more depth, PTSD, and trauma within here that I'm really digging. Anthony Starr as, of course, Homelander is just fantastic. Erin Moriarty as Annie or Starlight is fantastic. Love her in this. And I had no issues with her. Really much Jack Quaid is the one getting the big push in here. But I also, everyone else I feel like is getting something to do. Especially Karen Fukunaga as Kimiko, who I think is great. And I'm so sorry if I just butchered that name, but I really love what Karen does with this performance. And that just goes too far to say that there is a lot more in here. They're building on certain characters. There's certain characters we haven't seen much of yet, like such as Maeve, who really much has not been around. The Deep and A-Train, they're starting to kind of do more with them than they did in season 2, which I feel like season 2 went nowhere. But this season really comes down to psychological tension, psychological issues, and certain elements like that. And even another character that I'm surprised to see a little bit more of here is Moff Gideon himself, Gus Fring himself, Giancarlo Esposito. I love what they are doing with him in here because I've always felt like there was enough room for him to give more context in here. And now having the boys actually operate out of the military gives them a little bit more to do. So let's start talking about one of the big moments in the beginning of this is seeing where everyone's at in their lives. We obviously know the head popper, who she is, and how that's going to intertwine them. Now we see that Jack Quaid's character and how that kind of goes for him and how they're dealing with that now and knowing that there is a little bit of a background history to that and what has happened with her. And now that she is a part of Esposito's family, like that is a big element in there and a revelation that is surprising. But just with the boys, there are always grossed out, crazy moments that really will shock some people. And one of the things that did shock me was the opening scene that they said is even grosser than the whale. And it is. In the first 15 minutes in the first episode, we see a man pull an Ant-Man. He shrinks down, he's fucking a doll. Cool. Whatever. That's your thing, man? Cool. Then he shrinks down and goes inside a man. And then goes big and kills him. I felt that. I felt that inside myself. Then he's trying to go inside Frenchie and do the same thing to him. It very much felt like the theory in the shade that people were saying, well, why didn't Ant-Man just do that to Thanos? Well, this is exactly what would have happened in it. It would have saved everyone. It would have saved humanity at that point. So I liked that stuff, but it was really gross. And that's the one thing that it's the shock and awe of it. And that's what I like about the boys, is that they never steer away from that. They're always going full in on that. But I will say, the first episode didn't really blow my mind. And I feel like the second episode started to finally get me there, and the third episode finally locked me into the season. And I like how Homelander is playing these psychological tricks on everyone. Like, if they're gonna fuck with him, he's definitely gonna fuck with everyone, and especially with the way this episode ends, with him lying to the world, saying that, hey, yeah, me and Starlight, we are a thing, and she knows. Like, if I don't do this, he will kill Hughie. He will kill my family. He will kill everyone. Just as he says, he goes, release it. I don't care. I got nothing left to lose. And that is something that I'm really liking how they're taking Homelander's approach now. Is like, I was being myself and people loved it. Well, if you let me lose everything, I got nothing left to lose and I'll just kill everyone. And that's where it comes down to that contingency plan. They're trying to figure out, and I love how there's so many different subplots. They're trying to figure out this, that, this. But one of the biggest things is finding out what killed Soldier Boy. What gun took him down? What weapon could possibly be that? And that's the weapon that they are trying to find right now. And finding and seeing those flashbacks with the Major, I thought were really unique. And as well as one of the biggest things in the season so far that we saw from the trailer was, of course, that they were going to be souping up. And Karl Urban is the one, takes the syringe, takes it in, and kicks some Major ass. And I love that scene. I love when he goes to Payback the first time. That doesn't really work out. Payback pretty much turns around, shoots the bullet, almost kills him. And pretty much gets this wake-up call that when Hughie calls him, just opened. Well, Butcher called him and Hughie just opened up. And that's what I love. It was getting the boys back together. Seeing where everyone was, Mother's Milk in his life, Frenchie, all these things, and everyone just kind of coming together, that they know that what they are doing is the right thing. And I think for Hughie, that was a big thing because he wanted to get away from that life, but he knows that he's just going to keep getting sucked into it. And we see that kind of like that trauma and that grief he's still feeling on that red carpet in the opening scene when he is with Starlight. But we also see everything else, which, speaking of that scene, the movie, of course, that is totally a jab at, not a jab, but more of a joke towards Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, Dawn of the Seven, and seeing Charlize Theron play off Stormfront. That was awesome. Like, that was a great cameo, and I overall really dug that. But seeing where these characters are, that's what gets me excited. Seeing Butcher talk to Homelander for that one scene. But seeing him take that compound and go in on Payback was awesome. And then just seeing him kill him, because he let Termite live, but seeing him just go boom, boom, boom was great. Because this is what they are about. They are about taking out these Supes who, in a sense, have not really provided much to this world. And I love that, and I love what they were able to do with that. And even adding in when Frenchie and Kimiko go to the entire, like, Vought land, and they go up against the Crimson Crusader, I think was her name. And she ends up killing that mascot. I mean, it scarred people. That's my favorite thing about The Boys. Yes, the satire element is fantastic. And I love that. And that's really what was the strength of the first season. The second season tried to mix part of that, but also tried to go way above and beyond and give so many different things. What I'm loving so far in season 3 is how they are diving into the psychological nature of every character, where they are in their lives, and what pushes them forward in life. Should they just be what they are? Should they not? There's a lot of different moving pieces in here, and I think so far this season is very smart in its contingency to do that. And they're really much moving everyone in a way that every episode ends in a way where you're like, I gotta watch that next one, and I gotta watch that next one, and I gotta watch this one next. I overall don't know what they're doing with the Deep and A-Train. I think there are interesting things, especially when the Deep had to eat the octopus. I felt for that. And I don't like him as a character. The actor's great, but I do not like that character at all. There are just things in here that feel a little bit deepening and sick, and it's just curious to see what is the end game with the boys and where do they go. But it brings us back. It hooked me back in, and season 3 so far is a pretty damn good delight. Is it as good as season 1 so far? No. I don't know how you get back to season 1 levels, but I'm very excited to see what they do next with these characters, and in general, just very much excited to explore more of the boys and this entire world. So guys, let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are on this episode and these seasons so far. Do you like these first 3 episodes? Are you looking forward to next week? Are you done with this show? What was your favorite moment? What was something that I didn't get to talk about that we can talk about down below in the comment section? Again, overall, the thing that my biggest takeaway was just what Homelander is officially doing with all this, and I'm on board. Really happy with what they're doing with Hughie too, because I've always liked Jack Quaid in the role. But overall, we got the badass, we got the blood, we got all that. So thank you so much again for watching this, and I'll make sure to catch you guys next week on those episodes. So of course, until next time, stay classy.